Hey Dee, did your weather suddenly change?
Yeah, it sure did. Last two mornings have been nice and cool, and the days haven't been bad either.
Oh, here too. I woke up this morning, no, yesterday morning. This is Sunday. We're recording on Sunday. Saturday, it was only 58 degrees when I got up in the morning.
We were 68 and we were 68 again this morning.
So, and anyway, oops, we broke another rule, Dee. You're not supposed to talk about weather to start a podcast.
I
Oops.
mean, we're gardeners. We can talk about anything we want to. How about I welcome our friends to the party.
There you go. And newcomers too.
Welcome to the Garden Angels, where we chat about flowers, veggies, and all the best dirt. I am Dee Nash from Guthrie, Oklahoma, where I still have a large garden out in the country.
And I'm Carol Michael from Indianapolis, Indiana. I have a suburban garden measured in square feet. It's about a third of an acre.
We are Garden Angelists because we love gardening and we want you to love it too.
Yes, we do, and we aren't afraid to tell all of our gardening secrets, the good, the bad, and even the ugly. But let's move on to this week's episode, which is mostly good, I think. Hello, Dee.
Yeah. Hey, Carol, how does your garden grow? I see a long series of paragraphs. I'm going to settle in with my bubbly water and listen.
It's not that much. Out in the garden, I did mow on Wednesday because I knew it was going to rain on Thursday. It was so hot out there, but and then we got 2 inches of rain on Thursday, or almost 2 inches. So I've been harvesting, I've been weeding. I got new hoses because the others were just annoying me. So they worked out really well. And Friday, the plumber came and fixed my back spigot. So I don't have to run a hose from the vegetable garden spigot up to the porch or the patio to water. So that was all good. Um, and then last night we went to a birthday party for my older sister, and it was at Abby's Garden Parties up in Zionsville. And it's like a
Yeah, you've talked
terrarium
about
bar.
it her before. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd
She
never
makes
been up there.
terrariums.
Yes. But she used to do the parties like in people's homes or offices. Now she's got like a place in Zionsville where you can just go. So we went, we had a really good time, and some of them made terrariums. And I was the only one that brought my own container. Do you remember my snail planter from
I do.
Aldi?
I do.
How about it now? Look, I
You put
planted
a
it up at
you put a
Abby's.
Hoya.
I put in a Hoya, and that's a little tiny mushroom doodad. One of my great nieces thought that I needed that in there. So,
So I got to ask a question about your Hoya. Was it rooted?
oh, it's
Yeah,
well rooted. That's all that Abby
good.
sells. It's well
Good,
rooted, she
because a
said.
lot of those that you buy, it's just a cutting
Oh no, this
and
had roots.
oh, really, really hard to do.
No, it's really good. So if you live in the Indianapolis area, she's a great place to go. You know, grab a couple of girlfriends and go over there. Or if you're dating, that's a great date place. And you get a little terrarium that you make and buy and all that kind of good stuff. Plus, Scienceville was having a street party that last night, like this big dance party. So they were
Fun.
playing music, and my little great nieces were out on the sidewalk, kind of dancing to the music. It was all good times. So anyway.
Sounds really fun.
How about
So
your garden, Miss D?
the reason we're recording this on Sunday afternoon is because I had garden visitors who came over on
All
Saturday.
right. And just
Um,
our listeners, I would like to explain about our show notes. I had three little paragraphs of an update. Okay. Three. I'm looking at your update. I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what's this sit back and relax stuff? Now it's my turn to sit back and relax. What is up with this?
I may skip some of it. So there. Um, I totally lost my train of thought about what I was doing because you were complaining.
I wasn't complaining. I was just making an observation.
You were kvetching, is what you were doing. Anyway, I had visitors to the garden on Saturday, which meant I had to work really hard on Thursday and Friday. And Thursday was hot here too and humid. I was completely drenched in sweat,
Oh
but
yeah.
I got a lot done. And so I cleaned off my front walkway, which is every time it rains, it has mud there. And I finally lost my temper about it after 36 years. And I called up Luz and I said, Luz, there has got to be a way, a strategy to stop this from eroding down this path. So you need to help me figure out one. And he goes, absolutely. we will work on that. So I don't know what we're going to do. Then Bill comes up. You know, we own a paving company. Okay.
Exactly.
We
Exactly.
own a paving company. We do soil erosion all the time for work.
But not for home, apparently.
Apparently not. And so Bill gets on because Bill was on that message too. I didn't really call Luz. I texted him with Bill. And Bill goes, you know, we could just put down a soil erosion barrier that's studded with grass seed.
36 years and you finally thought of this?
And so I said, okay, but does that just have Bermuda? And he goes, I don't know. Let me figure that out. I'll look into it. Well, of course he forgot. But today I reminded him when we were trying to fix the vacuum. Okay. And then I also fixed the paths in the back, and he brought me some more gravel that was in the upper pasture. And I stood there with all that muddy gravel and I was covered in dirt. And I
Oh
just said,
gosh.
I said, Bill, we've got to fix this before next year. I can't do this anymore. I think I fixed it. Well, let's see. Luz's guys fixed it. My guys fixed it. And then I probably fixed it 6 times. So I've totally lost my temper about both of those. So he goes, you know what? We'll probably brick that area. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to need to do. All right. So then I weeded around my Marion garden because it looks so bad. And I've decided I'm going to do something different there, something more
Okay.
permanent. See how fast that paragraph went?
Right.
And then let's see. I've noticed that this year, since we mulched the front shade borders, although they face the west and they get partial sun, there just aren't the weeds. I mean, we did about 3 inches because I
Yeah.
was like,
Makes a difference.
I don't want to weed this all the time. I want simple. And so I've decided I'm going to put in a couple more hydrangeas and change up some stuff. Then I decided to order some seeds because we were watching the show last night. I was a little bored, and my zinnias are so pretty. And it's almost time to fall garden in the vegetable garden. And my vegetable garden is so ugly for summer because I think it's the potting soil one type, and I think it's also the fact that it rains so hard.
Right. Right.
So I'm going to do turnips, Toscano kale, mesclun lettuce, radishes. I'm going to try to grow watermelon again. I've grown it before, and it's a fall winter radish. And
I was going
I
to say,
also
when you
got
said I'm going with watermelon, you meant watermelon radish for our listeners.
radish.
You cannot start a watermelon today from seed and expect to get watermelon.
And you know what? Dee can't start a watermelon seed anytime and get a watermelon. It never happens. Okay, so I got some French breakfast radishes because they're fast, bok choy, and spinach because spinach usually grows better here in the fall.
Right.
And then I ordered more zinnias because they're so pretty. And I'm starting to see spiders. So one of my pictures this week for our newsletter is of a zinnia with a green leaf spider. They're
Cool.
beautiful. Don't touch them though. The bite I hear is just really bad. I've
I
never
would,
touched one though. I
I,
wouldn't touch
I would
one.
knowingly touch a spider.
I just look at her. She just sits on top of the flower looking like an emerald. And I go, aren't you pretty? And I just walk on by. All right.
Yeah.
See, play favorites. Your turn.
So my favorite this week is my gigantic, ginormous, huge Hydrangea
Mine is
paniculata
too.
limelight. It is beautiful. I just
Mhm.
wish the flowers weren't sterile. No, no insects on it at all. Um,
Never. Mm-mm.
and it's not a native, and but it is big, it's tall, it's easy to take care of because it blooms on new wood. So you can whack that thing back. And I do need to whack it back next spring because it is taking over, and there's a gate supposedly there. So that is my favorite. I have a very nice picture of it to put in the
That is
newsletter.
the stalwart shrub of the green and white garden.
It is.
It
It
is.
is.
They line those up like little green and white soldiers. All right,
Now,
so
as I've said
what?
on mine, I do have to cut off the dried flowers in the winter because they'll just blow all over my neighbor's yard. And he's
They
commented
don't
about,
appreciate that.
no, he doesn't mind, but it's just like, I wondered where those came from.
So I don't take mine off until the spring usually because there's nowhere for it to blow. And mine's huge too, and it's very pretty right now. I see it from my bathroom window. And I only have one for the same reason. It's sterile. Although I really like hydrangeas, but not the pink and blue ones. They're hard to grow here. They're probably not hard to grow in your world, are they?
The The pink ones aren't, but the blue ones are.
Well, because we don't have acidic soil.
I would say the ones that bloom on old wood, it just depends on the winter.
Hmm.
So,
I wouldn't even buy those anymore. Okay, so my favorite this week, you're gonna laugh, but it's my zinnias. I sent you a photo.
whoa!
I sent you a photo of them in a vase, an antique
They are
vase, and they're
pretty.
really pretty.
Which
Yeah,
reminds me, Dee, you sent me some seeds
I
for
did.
zinnias last year,
Yeah.
and I sowed them. They're all a pretty orange color.
Were they the Tide Pool mix? I bet you they just all came out orange.
They all came out orange, and I have a bouquet of them sitting on my kitchen table. And I picked those a week ago. Still look pretty good.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
last
they last in a
forever.
vase for a long time.
They're very
Especially
nice.
if you
Thank
ever
you.
change out the water. Oh, you're welcome. I wish you'd
Change
got
out
more
the water. What
variety.
what are you talking about?
Well, you can. I don't usually do it. Usually I just go cut some more, wash out the vase and go on. Because the more you cut zinnias, the more you get, right? And so, and they get bigger and bushier. So
Yes.
I showed my visitors, I was like, go on and cut them way down here. And I said, the further down you cut them, the more bushed out they get, and they just become a great big giant flower. Almost a bush. Okay, so we're going to do questions of the week. And first, like all good newspapers or media, we're going to make a correction because we messed up last week because we weren't thinking.
Swiss chard is not in the cabbage family, as we said. I think I said. It is in the amaranth family. And one of our listeners from Kingston, New York, kindly, gently let us know. And the key thing is kindly, gently let us know.
Yeah,
Didn't
she
hurt.
was really nice about it.
Yeah,
She
she said
first told us how much she enjoys our podcast, and then she
there.
goes, but, but,
What?
and I was like, oh, she's right. I'd forgotten. And not only that, no wonder that all we were talking about was how the cabbage moths didn't bother Swiss chard. Well, of course they didn't.
No, because
It's an
it's
amaranth.
exactly.
Okay, for your sister, and I have a little thing to add to that. Go.
So my youngest sister, she says, "Why are my bush beans behaving like pole beans?" And she swears she bought bush beans. She has the package. It says bush beans. I know you bought pole beans by accident.
No, I
So
didn't. I bought bush beans. I found the package. I have the exact problem she has.
they're just vining.
Only, only two. Out of all the plants, I have two that are vining.
Well, what I told her is sometimes you'll get a bush bean that just goes rogue on you and just starts vining, and it's
Hmm.
not, you just kind of like shrug that one went rogue on me and you just kind of let it go. But she's like, "Well, tell me what brand you buy next year." And I said, "I'll just order an extra packet for you." So, but yeah.
Provider.
So you did not
Provider.
buy pole beans.
No, I thought I did because the first ones to really grow were the two rogue ones, but then everybody else has stayed tidy bush bean. And I was like standing there looking at them yesterday going, what is with you guys? I've never had that
So
happen
that is our
before.
second correction. You did not buy pole beans. You are
I did
not.
not.
You are not
Or remember
silly.
I did, I wasn't sure. I was like, where is that packet? Well, I found it and it's bush beans.
So anyway,
So
it just happens. Sometimes you get a rogue bean.
I actually harvested some provider, which is not the brogue beans. I harvested those the other day and we had them for dinner and they were delicious. And now the blue lakes are starting to put on, blossoms on both the ones that think they're pole beans and the bush ones.
There you go.
And I need to, that's another thing that you can sow right now is in my part of the world, you can sow bush beans again.
I think we're done with bush beans here.
You probably are.
So
Yeah.
now later in the week, a couple of days ago, she sends me a picture of a hosta. It has white leaves with red edges, and she says, "I need this." And wrote back and said, "I hope you're joking and understand that that is an AI image. That plant does not exist, but that people all over the internet that aren't as bright as you and I are getting taken in by these AI images of plants that are just like, no, there is not a white leafed hosta with red edges. Forget about it."
So, so here's my thing on AI images. They're always just a little off. Like
Exactly.
if it's a human being, we're really tan. For some reason, computer land thinks that we should all be this yellow tan color. It's a very
Or
strange, odd color. I mean, we
or
look
if
good, but
yeah,
it's just
or
not what
if there's
anybody
rabbits
looks like.
jumping on a trampoline, that didn't happen.
I saw that one. Didn't you send that to me?
I
It made me
did. That one
laugh.
didn't happen. Or the one where there's
Yeah.
a like a black panther and your household cat is riding its back to the front door. That didn't happen.
I guess again a little bit off, right? But fairly, So there are a few white hostas out there, but I don't even know if hostas have a gene for red
No.
coloration at
There are
all.
some that are very, very, very pale or very, very, very variegated,
There
but
really
no.
is, it's a shade of yellow,
You would have
really.
seen this picture and just died laughing.
You're gonna have to send, I think we should put it in the newsletter.
We're not putting that nonsense in our newsletter. We are a high quality gardening podcast. We do not subscribe to that sort of thing. Anyway, Basil Becky, one
She
of our
almost
longtime
said
listeners.
CRAP. Yes, Basil Becky. I get to read this one. Do you cut back your bee balm? It has quit blooming, and every time I go to cut it back, I see small bees and flies on it. I hate to take away their food source. And then I said, well, I mean, since the blooms are spent, I think the food source is really gone. And there's not enough left. And you've got enough in your garden, Becky, because I know that you grow lots of different things that they will be a-okay. And so, yes, you can cut it back. You can cut it back very gently if you want to try to let it bloom again. I have not seen this happen, but I've heard it does. In my case, I just whack it back halfway because I'm done with it and other flowers need to have some sun. So
Right,
it's their
right.
turn,
And when you say very gently, it's like just cut off the flower head only, but
just
leave the
the
rest,
top.
just the top.
Mhm.
And that's what she had emailed me, and that's what I said. I think that Dee had read you could do this and see if you get some new blooms. But you're right.
Okay.
Sometimes it's just time for another flower to take over.
I just think it's another flower's place in the sun now.
All right, I would
Ready
do a
for the
quote.
quote?
I'm going to do the quote. A home is a kingdom of its own in the midst of the world, a stronghold amid life's storms and stresses, a refuge, even a sanctuary. Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Do you remember the
Bonhoeffer. Mhm.
Bonhoeffer? Do you remember the movie we saw about his life?
The most boring movie I've watched in a long, long time. And Dietrich Bonhoeffer's life was not boring. It
No.
was fraught with danger and
Well,
all
that
kinds of stuff.
it was, but wait a minute. Before you say it was very, very boring, let us remember I saw it in a theater. You saw it at home. I think it is a big picture, big theater picture to watch.
It's by Angel Studios, and they did a pretty good job, but it was slow and it could use some editing. That's just my opinion.
Okay, let's
But
talk
I
about
feel that way
flowers.
about a lot of their movies, honestly. Okay, so flowers. You started where are we? Are we on
We're on
two?
tea,
I thought we were. But I was like Nicotiana. So we're
flowering
doing
tobacco,
flowering
flowering
tobacco.
tobacco. So in my vegetable garden, as we've talked, it just self sows and I let it come up. It's great for nighttime viewing because the white flowers stand out. That's when they're most heavily scented. So as you put out there, I think you're correct. I probably have Nicotiana sylvestris.
You do.
You grow more than I do. You've grown other varieties.
I like to grow it. It's one of my favorite plants to grow. I didn't grow any this year, but I really like it. And if I'm going to grow Nicotiana sylvestris, I'm going to grow only the lonely because it's a little shorter. It's not short, but it's a little shorter and it just looks really good. And you said that I'd grown quite a few, and I was like, yeah, I've grown bunches. So I've grown Nicotiana Langsdorffii, or maybe Langsdorffii. And so that's the green one, has little tiny green tubes. Insects love that one. They love them all, but the big moths like the ones with the bigger flowers,
Mm-hmm.
and the smaller insects like the smaller flowers. And then Nan Andra has one that's a selection of that one that's a little fancier. And then I grew one that I tried to find it when I was doing my research for this. It's a shortish brownish red one that's listed as a red or a cranberry. But when I went to look for it online, all of their cranberry ones looked pinker than this was. I think that I think that their photos are not correct because it's brownish red and it's really short and it's really, really ugly. So I would say don't grow that one. And then because I mean, I only got,
Well, don't grow it because you can't even find it anyway.
well, I think it's one of those.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying? It's only
Yes.
like 6 inches high. So then I grew, my favorite one is lavender cloud. And lavender cloud, you can only get the seeds from Hudson Valley, and I have no idea why. Hudson Valley Seed Company. Um, and I tend to like the ones with bigger flowers. They attract both. So they really bloom their best at night, but they
Uh-huh.
stay most of the day. So they're really, really pretty and they smell good. And I grew them in my cut flower garden, even though they're really not a good cut flower because they're kind of sticky. You know how Nicotiana is sticky,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
tobacco. So
Like
better
tomatoes,
at
like
better
petunias.
like all of those. Ugh. So not so good in a vase, but they're really pretty and they're really good pollinator plants. So I put them in a pollinator garden.
Exactly. And then we'll move on to tulips, which we've talked about
Mhm.
before.
We talked about them a lot.
As I say, tulips, a flower upon which empires were built back in the day when they
True.
had tulip mania. But I personally love all the smaller tulips in my garden because they tend to come back every year, like
Not
the
here,
like the
not in
Tulipa
Oklahoma.
clusiana Lady Jane, which I rave about every spring, and it is multiplying out there because
Not
it
at
is
my house.
growing in places where I did not plant it. So either that or the squirrels are moving it around. But one of them came up in the cracks of the patio, and I don't think a squirrel dug it under the patio. So that's why I think it's self-sowing a bit.
I've grown all of those of the ones you're talking about, which is Tulipa clusiana, which is Lady Jane, and then Tulipa sylvestris, which is woodland tulips. I grew all of those, and the ones that did the best were Lady Jane. But they only stayed here a couple of years, maybe 3, and then they were gone. It's too hot in the summer and probably too wet at various
Yeah.
times.
Well,
They
like
like dry.
the Tulipa sylvestra, which is the yellow woodland tulips, I
Hmm.
plant those out front around my crabapple tree, and I'm not getting as many flowers as I have planted bulbs. And so I thought, I probably need to try another 50 bulbs. And people are like, 50 bulbs? Yeah, you plant in
Oh, they're
quantities.
tiny.
Planting quantities. I should try another 50. I should place a bulb order after we get done talking today. But anyway, then the one that everybody buys are the big hybrids, which are very showy, but not reliable returners, in my opinion.
They're not reliable at all. And they're not even reliable to bloom the next year here because voles love them so much.
Same here.
So you can, you can plant them in those metal trash cans like my friend Teresa does up by Tulsa up in Broken Arrow. You can, there's a variety of things. You can wrap chicken wire around them. I've done that. But here's the problem. When you go to dig there later, you run into the chicken wire. I mean, so here's what I do to make mine at least get to bloom once. I ring them with a small daffodil because usually the voles won't go past the daffodils. And that works pretty good for me. Um, and I only plant them in one spot now where I can see them directly from my window. They're too
Right.
expensive. They don't repeat like daffodils. I mean, you can grow daffodils for years and years and
Oh,
years.
definitely, definitely.
So I don't
Well,
know.
I tell people with the hybrids, I will just go down to Menards and buy a big box of 100 or 250 mixed colors and plant them around by my mailbox and stuff and have a really nice display. And then when it's time to plant the summer annuals, or I just
You
pull
just
them
pull
all
them out.
out. Yep.
Yeah, which people think is really wasteful, but the truth is they don't come back very well. I
You
mean, they sometimes will, but they don't come back like they are.
you
In other
go to
words, they
the
get faded, faded, faded.
you go to these big botanical gardens and things that have
They
big,
pull them.
they pull them every spring, and what they'll do is they'll pull them and they'll let volunteers and people just take them, and you can replant them, and you may or may not get a few bulbs to come
And
back,
they'll be
but
smaller and paler.
yeah, but you can try it. And you listed a couple of great mail order sites for that. Color Blends is great, and Van Engelen is also very good.
Which is John Sheepers.
Yes,
Van
that's the
Engelen is just the wholesale arm of John Sheepers. I didn't put that in there. I've bought from both of these. They're really great. The Sheepers blend is one of the prettiest blends on the market, and they're great big bulbs. And that's one thing I do want to say is if you buy your bulbs from a mail order source, you get bigger bulbs.
Generally so, yes.
The smaller bulbs are sent to the box stores later. And the thing is there's nothing wrong with those, but bigger bulbs mean bigger, better blooms. They just do. That's true of all bulbs.
All right, let's go on to the next flower, which I do not grow. Tithonia, the Mexican sunflower, which you've always raved about these.
Yeah, I've grown them all, and I've even grown the one that's supposedly red. It's really a dark, dark orange, is what I noticed, and was not very viable. I mean, it was really kind of puny. The good old-fashioned torch, which has been around forever, is easy to grow, looks good. You probably want to start seeds indoors or buy small plants in the spring if you can find them. And you want to set them out when it starts to get warm because they like hot weather. They bloom really well all summer and then into fall, and they look really great against the blue sky. And you know what looks really great on them? Monarch butterflies.
Yes, that would be, yes.
They love them. And so do Gulf fritillaries. But Gulf fritillaries aren't picky. They'll sip from anything, truthfully.
Well,
So
and I don't know that I have room for those. Maybe I do if I just worked it a little bit better.
they get 4 feet tall,
Yeah, I
five
don't have room
feet.
for those.
Yeah, they're pretty big. All right,
Now that
next.
you put this one on the list, and I'm like, tassel flower, Irish poet, Emilia coccinea, because I looked it up and I'm like, why and how did you order these seeds and not tell me about them in the spring when I could have ordered them and tried to have them in my garden? D, I thought we were friends. I want this tassel flower.
Well, before you say you want it, let me tell you about it. It's still not flowering. And like I sowed the seeds a long time ago, they're this big. So Nan Andra grows it really successfully, and I bought some seeds from her, and that's how I came to grow it. It's beautiful and tall and has this beautiful little orange flower on it. Fuzzy leaves, kind of like Nicotiana, but it
But
is considered a good cut flower, and it is slow growing. Good Lord.
so when did you start your seeds?
You know, I don't remember because I think I sowed my regular. So I set out some zinnias that I'd done indoors, right?
Yeah.
And then I did my second direct sowing of zinnias, and then they failed because of the rain. So probably May. I probably put this out the
Okay.
beginning of May. And it is still really short and just sitting there. But I did finally, I mean, they're finally starting to grow. So maybe we'll have
Well,
tassel flower by October.
I looked it up on Select Seeds and we'll put a link to that. It's not an affiliate link. It's just like I will help you with my research.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I think I'm going to get some.
It's
And
pretty.
I think it's a good candidate for winter sowing because it's a half hardy annual and it says it self sows. So I think that is one that I'm going to winter sow this
I think it'd be
winter.
great for winter sowing. I was trying to decide how long it takes to get it going, and it doesn't say here on growing guide. Let me look here. Supposed to sprout in 7 to 14 days. I'd say it's closer to 14. Seed to bloom is supposed to be 10 to 12 weeks. June, July, August. It should be blooming in about a week or two. I don't see that happening. It's really about 2 inches high. It's really
Hmm.
small. I'm going to take a picture of it for the newsletter. No one will believe me. It's really small, like so
Oh, I
small.
believe you. I believe you. I
It's
believe you.
terrible.
I believe you.
So if it ever goes, it's going to be really cool because it's this beautiful orange on top of these really cool stems. It would really look great with Verbena bonariensis,
That's what I was
wouldn't
thinking
it?
to put it out front with that, even though that's not in my color scheme out front. But I thought that would be beautiful to have those together.
Yep, me too. We'll see.
Okay, well, I'm going to try them next year. I've got it on my list now. Do a quote. Let's talk about some vegetables that start with the letter T. And while we do the quote, listeners, think to yourself, what is a vegetable that starts with the letter T?
Gardening is the slowest of the performing arts. Matt Griswold. Well, tassel flower proves it.
What a great quote. We didn't even know when we
No,
when
not on
we
purpose.
okay. So the first vegetable on the list is obviously tomatoes.
Tomatoes.
We've talked about those a lot.
We have, and mine are terrible this year, but I got my first red ripe tomato and I'm gonna eat it tonight.
I I've had moderate success, but the raccoons keep getting them.
You're gonna have to bring them in early.
I'm going to bring them in. In fact, I had a really nice big one out there, and I thought you're still in a tiny bit of color. You're coming inside where it's safe.
That's
And
what I have to do
that is
now.
our my one tip. If you are having problems with rodents and things like that, eating those,
Birds.
then birds pecking at them, just as soon as
Mhm.
they start showing color, bring them inside and they will ripen on your counter.
They
Onward.
will. All right, tomatillos. Carol's never grown these. I have. I've
Nope.
grown the purple ones and the green ones. You grow them exactly like tomatoes, the same way, which is good rich soil, good deep soil. They bloom. Bumblebees love them. They pollinate them. The end.
And then they have that husk around them. So you remove the husk and use the inside part.
Yeah, and you don't have to peel them. You just chop them up and you cook them down into a sauce, and that's what green salsa verde is made of, is
Ah,
tomatillos
yeah, I
and
knew that. I've
peppers.
had that. I mean, I've eaten them, but I've never decided that that was something that I thought, oh, I need to spend space in my tiny little vegetable garden for that.
And they're big, rangy, weedy looking plants, and they're in the same family as tomatoes. I mean,
Right.
seriously, they're just wild tomatoes, is what I think of them as.
Okay. I'm not growing them. Onward.
But don't anybody, I'm not saying they're wild tomatoes, so I'm just saying they remind me of them. Okay, go
Okay.
ahead.
All right. Well, let's talk about turnips.
What's to say about turnips that we
Also
haven't
easy to grow
said?
from seed. Well, I did find there's an All-America selection. We'll go back to 1969. You know what happened in 1969? The
Mm-mm.
moon landing was in 1969.
You have to bring up the moon landing.
I'm just saying that was a big event in 1969. We all sat around
It
and watched.
was.
We
Somebody's gonna write
watched.
us and tell us it's all fake.
We sat around and watched it. But
We
anyway,
did on
there is a
TV. It
there is a
was
variety called
exciting.
that's an All-America selection called Tokyo Cross.
There is, and I didn't grow that one, but I ordered another type of Japanese one. But I often just order purple top.
Yep,
They're
can't go
great.
wrong with it.
I really can't. You direct sow them, super easy to grow.
Yeah, and you can, by the way, turnips make great greens. If you
Mhm.
want, if you're into that thing, you can also, by the way, do microgreens with turnips. So anyway,
I bet they'd be good microgreens. Have you done
and
them?
yeah, I've done turnip microgreens because some of the microgreen mixes actually have turnips mixed in.
Oh, okay. You didn't specifically grow turnips. You
No,
got some.
they were just in a mix.
Okay,
So
and the
then
next one's Tulsi.
I added an herb, and Tulsi is holy basil. And
Hmm.
then if you go to look up holy basil, you will find all kinds of medical sites talking about holy basil before you'll find a gardening site. We will link to Gardening Know-How, or no, The Spruce has an article about growing it. Super easy to grow, just like other basils.
Do you have any?
I had some last year. I do not have any this year.
I have three plants this year. They're doing great. I think it is the prettiest basil to grow for just beautiful seed heads, and it's beautiful to take pictures of. And little pollinators just love it. And yeah, you make a tea out of the leaves. I mean, and the tea is a relaxant, and people like it. So
I
there
have
you go.
some store-bought holy basil tea. It's got does it have rose might have rose petals mixed in? I might think I have a
Mhm.
hibiscus with rose petals. I have all kinds of teas, but
There's a whole brand of teas called Tulsi teas, and they all have different things in them. Like one has ashwagandha. They all have tons of stuff in them with the Tulsi. I mean, a
so
Tulsi's fine. I've tasted it's good. I
yeah.
think that holy basil in your garden would be really pretty as a front of the border plant in a flower garden because it's got purple leaves.
Yes. Very
It's
pretty.
pretty. Mhm.
All right. Well, that's all about that. Well, I'm going to do a quote so that we can go on to our bookshelf. And this is a long one.
I did that to you.
I know you did. May we raise children who love the unloved things, the dandelion, the worms, and spiderlings. Children who sense that the rose needs the thorn and run into wane-swept days. The same way they turn towards the sun, and when they're grown and someone has to speak for those who have no voice, may they draw upon the wilder bond, those days of tending tender things, and be the ones. Nicolette Gowden. That's very true.
Isn't it pretty? I love the line that says, "Who love the unloved things, the dandelion, the worms, and the spiderlings." That's my favorite line. Could
Yes.
have just done that
Which
for me.
reminds me, my great nephew, he came up to me and he said, "I'm going to find 72 four-leaf clovers in your yard next Easter." And I'm like, because I pay $1 a piece.
I know, good Lord.
And I
That's
don't
a
know
lot
where
of four-leaf clovers.
it is. And it'll be, I think Easter is late March. Don't correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's late March. And
Mhm.
so we'll be lucky if the clovers actually sprouted
Even
by then.
up. Yeah, no
So
kidding. So you know what spiderlings are, right?
spiderlings, are they baby spiders?
I
Yeah.
love that they're called spiderlings.
I have never in my life until like today, when I was today years old, as they say, heard of spiderlings. I just guessed what they were.
That was a good guess.
I know.
But think about it, they're little spiders. And I like spiders, and like so many of my garden coaching clients, they really don't like them. And I'm like, well, really, spiders are your friend.
Well, and then this reminds me that
Friends.
I creeped out members of my garden club. I think I was at the June meeting and something came up and I said, "Well, they say you're never more than 10 feet from a spider."
It's true.
Then creeped them all out.
If you're a gardener, you're probably inches away all the time
Yeah.
because there's all the flower spiders
My
and
motto is
everything
outside you
else.
can stay, inside you just it's your death sentence, not mine.
Oh, I just put them outside usually. It depends on the spider. I mean, I do kill brown recluses because if you buy, I've had several bites over the years.
So
All
we
right,
are
on
way
to
off
the
topic from that very
bookshelf.
pleasant, yeah, on the bookshelf.
I
You
don't
can
have it. I don't have it.
It's the 10-minute gardener, how to have a veggie garden and a life. 85 time-saving tactics to be more efficient and grow more food in less time by Callie Kim. And that is one word, Callie Kim. This is Callie's third book, and we may have reviewed her other two books, Dee.
I think we did.
She did I think it's the first time guide to raised bed gardens. We could probably add links to these. And then beginners organic gardening. She and her husband are in Southern California. But the advice she's given is pretty practical for everybody. Don't think of this as a Southern California kind of book. Um,
Right.
she's got a YouTube channel and she is on Instagram. And this book, you remember the Fly Lady and all those like
Yeah.
things to make keeping your house more efficient, easy stuff like throw the junk mail in the trash right away. You're not going to read it if it's stacked up there. So
Mhm.
that's what this book is kind of like, and the way she's got it organized is by sections. So she has 3-minute tips, 5-minute tips, 8-minute tips, 10-minute tips, and then 30-minute tips.
Mhm.
So how to use your time efficiently, and she's got things like I was going to try to find one here that made um, proactive burnout prevention. So not everything is
Mhm.
how to keep from getting burnt out in your garden. That's an 8-minute tip. She's got this is apropos quick tip, quick start a fall garden, and so what you can do to sow in the fall, and she's just spot on with that. Other things are called seed starting Saturdays and Sundays, and so she uses alliteration quite a bit to think about, like fertilizer Friday is a common one that I use. She's got stuff on how to grow microgreens in minutes, how to grow sprouts. And so just depending on how much time, it's really kind of a fun book to go through, and you're probably doing some of these things. I'm probably doing some of these things for especially for newer gardeners who just like feel like that the garden has sucked the life out of them. This is a good book to pick up and go through and see that you can really do things pretty quickly if you think about it.
Mhm. She
So,
also has a website. She has a
sh-
website called Callie Kim, Gardener and
yes.
Garden and Home DIY. And I think it's funny that she got away with writing a book under her name, not her real name.
I don't
But
know what her real name is.
I
I
don't either because she doesn't have it anywhere. I was kind of looking for it.
Well, I'm gonna look here. It's just yeah, and when she talks about the author, she says Callie Kim.
Yeah, it's Callie
Now
Kim and Camera Guy.
camera guy, she said is her husband Jerry.
Okay.
but she doesn't, I think her name is probably Kim, obviously.
Kim, because she's from California, Cali.
Yeah, Callie Kim.
Anyway, she's figured out a really good way to have a good brand. Good for her. And
Yeah,
she has good information. And I looked her up on Amazon. And
yes,
yes, we have done her books before
yes,
because
we've
she
done.
has the first time gardener growing vegetables, all the know-how, etc. Then gardening plants and flowers, and then container food gardening. We definitely did that one.
Well, wait a minute though. Those are kind of in that same line of books, but those are different authors. Her books are Organic Gardening for Everyone and The First Time Gardener Raised Bed Gardening. She didn't do
Are
the
you
vegetable
sure?
garden or the flower gardening. No, those were done by
Oh, you're
others.
right. You're right. Oh, but you know what? They're under her name. Isn't that
They're
weird?
under there is like there's that
It's part of a series.
yeah, Quarto did a series and we've done those
Yes, we did a
because
bunch of them. Yeah.
yes.
And they've all
But
been
anyway,
really good. So I'm sure this is good too. So my mistake.
no, that's okay. Anyway, it's pretty nice. Whatever you want to do, indoor gardening or outdoor. This is actually a really nice book. And that is The 10-Minute Gardener, How to Have a Veggie Garden and a Life, 85 Time-Saving Tactics to be More Efficient and Grow More Food in Less Time. She also includes some flowers information in there. So even if you don't grow a lot of veggies, she's got a lot of tips on indoor gardening and flower gardening as well. So there you go. That is the
Okay.
book this week.
Good deal. Onward.
Do that quote,
That,
Dee.
sorry, I was on the wrong page. If ever you are passing my way, don't wait to knock. T, am I in the right place?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, sorry. Tea is at 4, but any of you are welcome at any time. That's J.R.R. Tolkien from the Nahit, which I may have pronounced wrong. I don't know.
I've never heard of that book.
Never heard of that one. Might be a short story.
Could be.
That's funny. I don't think that's not me at all. You need to call first. Just saying. Okay, dirt.
Um,
Oh, I found this dirt.
you did find this dirt.
So they have trained dogs at at Virginia Tech University. They have trained dogs to sniff out the lanternfly, the same way you would sniff out truffles or other things or
Yes.
drugs. They've been able to. They are trained to sniff out lanternflies, and they're very successful at it. And they go around, and so what they do is they send these dogs out. The dogs find the lanternfly egg sacs before they've hatched out, and they go along and they scrape off the egg sacs and destroy them. And it's actually been very effective. It's
Yes,
disgusting.
because that spotted lanternfly, I mean, it's heading this way, and we gotta stop it at the state line.
Oh,
It's
so
actually already
bad.
in the state, but yeah, because it's very devastating when it arrives to,
Because it eats everything. I
yeah.
mean, it really eats everything. And so, in fact, somebody sent me a photo not long ago from somewhere, or I saw it on Instagram or something, and it wasn't of the lanternfly. It was of something else, and I saw a lanternfly in the photo, and I said, "Oh my word, you have lanternfly. You need to destroy that." And they were like, "Oh no," they didn't know what it was. So they destroyed it. But that
Yeah.
means where
Yeah.
there's one, you got a bunch more. It's made it. How far have they come now? Do we know?
They have found a few in Indiana, but we're not like
Oh,
it's not like widespread, but they have found a few, I think in southeastern Indiana, down by Ohio.
yeah.
Because I mean, when I think of spotted lanternfly, I think of Pennsylvania as the hot spot for it.
New Jersey. New
Mm.
Jersey is really bad too.
So,
So, oof. Okay, so it's made it, yeah. It's all over the same places that the Lone Star Tick just loves. Um, and the hot spot seems to be Connecticut, Delaware, Georgia, Illinois, Indiana. Oops.
oops.
Kentucky, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina. It's made it that far. Ohio, Rhode Island, Tennessee, Virginia, and West Virginia. Interestingly, they've also found a couple of new infestations in western areas. So that's not good. They found last year, they found that one. I don't know if you remember, we talked about it. There was a dead one found in Kansas, and they thought it had come in
Yes.
on a car.
Right, because a
Oh,
kid picked it up and put it in a bug collection and then took it to the fair, and somebody said, "Where'd you get that?"
they were like, good Lord, no.
So anyway, but that is interesting. The dogs can be trained to sniff those out, just like they sniff out drugs and criminals and look for kids, and they can they can sniff out cancers and stuff. So hopefully
Dogs
they
are
can train a lot
smart.
more dogs, and we let the dogs loose to find those things. Yuck.
Ew. Yep.
All
Okay.
right,
Do this pretty poem.
where quiet grows. I walk among the rows at dawn, the dew still clings, the world feels drawn. Each leaf a prayer, each bloom a sign that peace can root in hands like mine. With hands in soil, my heart finds rest, each stem I train, each weed addressed. The garden speaks in calm and grace, a slower world, a sacred place. And then you just have that's by Thackeray.
It's Thackeray. Yeah,
Thackeray. Who
he's a
is that?
poet.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I will get his whole name.
Somehow it got cut off when we copied it
Well,
over.
no, he just goes by Thackeray, if I remember right. He was a uh hold on, poet.
He's a
There's a
poet and
lot
he
of
doesn't
people
know
that
it.
William Makepeace, that's right. His name is William Makepeace Thackeray.
Okay.
And he was a novelist and an illustrator too.
Oh,
So there you go.
multi-talented. There's a
Yeah,
rabbit hole
he
there.
looks grumpy. He looks really grumpy. So we're to rabbit holes. I'll do mine fast because mine's short. I've been watching The Gilded Age, and which is the one that is written by the guy who wrote Downton Abbey.
Uh-huh.
But it's set in the US in New York City. New York's um I almost said Knickerbocker district, but that's not quite right. So anyway, it's set in New York in the 1800s and early 1900s, I think, and it's been fun to watch. And I decided to go and look up. I'm getting back where I was. There we go. It jumped. I watched a YouTube about Caroline Astor. She was part of the Astor family. And it's been very interesting because the people in the Gilded Age are not all real. There are a few people who are in real there. Mrs. Astor is one of them. And then there's Mamie, I think Mamie Fish. There's several people who are,
That were
famous.
based on real people. Then there's others that are
Some
just fictional
no,
characters.
right. Some are real people, some aren't. But she's in it. And the point is, she's part of the old money class, and they were not showy. They've been here generationally. Her people came from the very beginning. And so that's one of the interesting dynamics of the show is that you bring in the new railroad tycoons and their wives and how they broke into society. So it was
Yeah.
interesting. And then
Well,
and then the English society came over and they're
right.
even snobbier than the people in New York. So it's been
Well,
interesting.
that's the story of Alma Vanderbilt, who was new money and she worked like the dickens to get in with the Astors and stuff and basically sold her
Sort of.
daughter off to the
Hmm.
Duke of Marlborough, I think.
Yes. And
And
she was unhappy. And there is a story like that, but I don't think Gladys's life is going to be like Consuela's was, which is
yes,
Consuela Vanderbilt. So interesting story, interesting fun, but it's fun to go see the actual people. So
yes, that
online.
would be. That would be a
Okay, your
lot.
turn.
So out of the blue, I don't know why I started reading. I listened to two books by Willa Cather. One of
Mhm.
them is A Lost Lady, and the other one was O Pioneer. And I had never read those.
I love O Pioneer.
Yeah, it was very, very
Oh,
good.
Pioneers.
O Pioneers,
Sad.
yes, yeah. And
Mhm.
A Lost Lady is also kind of sad, but
Oh, Miss Pym.
and then, yeah, and then I started on my Shakespeare's Flower Puzzle again. Did I tell you last week I was going to start that? It was not going to break me this time. I have started it again, Dee. It is not going to break me. It is not the easiest puzzle, but I listened to those books while I was working on that puzzle.
I like to listen to books while I work on puzzles.
And then over on Substack Notes, which you've gotten more involved with notes because you now have your blog is now over on
Oh
Substack.
yeah, we were going to talk about that and we forgot.
Well, we can talk about it right here because I was over in notes and Dia's got her blog now on Substack. Red Dirt
Right. The
Ramblings
blog.
OK.substack.com. We'll put a
Yeah, you can
link.
just look up more Red Dirt Ramblings too. Yeah, we'll put a link to it and you can subscribe to it there because I was just having a lot of trouble getting subscriptions to the blog. So the blog will stay where it is, reddirtramblings.com, so that it can be a resource for people. It's archived, but I'm not going to add to it anymore because I couldn't send out subscriptions very well.
Right,
And it was, and the whole thing, it costs a fortune to maintain. So at
right.
least this way, the fortune won't keep going up because those
Exactly.
pictures are very, very heavy to have there. So yes, you were on Substack and
I found a made-for-TV movie about Barbara Pym, which is starring Patricia Routledge, who's a famous British actress. And she did a play called Miss Pym's Day Out, and it's all about the day in the life of Barbara Pym when she went to the Booker Prize Awards dinner in 1977, and she did not win. And I will tell you what, that's a bit of a uh, depressing show. But Patricia Routledge is an amazing actress, and she did you. Do you remember Keeping Up Appearances, that TV show,
Mhm.
the comedy? And she played Hyacinth Bouquet, as they say. That's what she's most known for. And then I saw a clip for the D-Day 80th anniversary that they had, I think earlier this year. She's
Mhm.
96 years old and they had her on a show being interviewed. And then they had this other woman who was 100. And the woman that was 100 was a journalist challenge to keep her focused and talk about, D-Day and what she did in the war and stuff. And but Patricia was a very delightful interview. But anyway, my mom loved Keeping Up Appearances. Like,
Yes, and so Barbara, back to Barbara Pym. Barbara Pym wrote several books, and her most famous book is Excellent Women. And the only reason I bring it up is I've read it. I read it because one of our friends, Elizabeth of Garden Rant, said that I should read it because she loves Barbara Pym. That was the most depressing book I ever read in my life.
none of Barbara's books are, you're gonna be like skippity doo dah at the end of it.
No, they're all about sadness and then, but they're
I've read them
really
all.
good.
I can tell you a little bit about Some Tame Gazelle, I think. If you just like tell me a little bit about it, I'm like, oh yeah, that one.
Yeah.
But
Well,
the
Excellent Women is about all the women who kind of keep things going, who are all single.
yes.
They're
Well,
all
and
old
then
maids in the vernacular at the time.
but in her writing career, she wrote like several like those that were bestsellers, and then it got to be like the 1960s, I think, and all the publishers started to turn her down and says people aren't reading that stuff anymore. And so she
And
got
yet now people read it. That's
now, I
funny.
mean, there's a Barbara Pinn Society, but
Yeah,
after about 14 years, then she published uh, a, a Quartet in Autumn, I think it's
I read
called.
that one too. It's really good.
And that one was the one that she got shortlisted for the Booker Prize and ended up going to the awards ceremony. But she died of cancer in 1980, I think they said. And
Oh.
she anyway.
Talk about
Okay.
people we can't keep on. We're not doing a good job of keeping on our topics today.
Anyway, but I'll tell you what, I've got about 7 audiobooks that the library has not been able to deliver to me because other people are reading some more Willa Cather,
I love
um,
Willa Cather.
some Elizabeth Gaskell, which is from the
I've read her
1800s.
too.
I'm
She's good
waiting for
too.
these people. People
Mhm.
listening and send that to me. So anyway,
Or
let's
you
talk
could
about
just buy it.
the audiobook. No, I just get it from the library.
Okay.
It's like
All right.
it's not like I'm starving and I'm waiting for free food. I'm like, I can wait for these things. And when it comes up, it'll come up.
Okay, good. Go on and do your garden commissions. Maybe you could work in the garden this week and take up some of that time while you wait.
I will because there's no excuse now that it's cooler not to get out there and do more weeding and tidying up, and I will do that. I also need to start thinking about the garage, and I need a better area to overwinter all these pelargoniums that I got. And so that means I need to do a bunch of cleanup in there and get some. I know kind of what I want to do, and I think I'm actually going to set up a little light that'll give them a little bit of light through the winter, not tons, and kind of keep them
Mhm.
from going completely dead. So that I may start on that since it's going to be cooler, and I got to mow the grass again. Probably do that tomorrow. So, and I'm getting my first fence estimate Tuesday.
Fun,
So
I
yeah,
guess.
fun until I find out how
Expensive.
much. Yeah, but it needs to
Yeah.
be done. How about you?
So we're supposed to be cool for the first 2 days this week, thank goodness. And I have a garden coaching client tomorrow on Monday. I've also got to write the newsletter. I'm also going to try to figure out a watering problem. My bottom tier garden is too wet,
That's what you said.
and it's been too wet for a while. And even when I turn off, so I've got something's leaking somewhere. So that's, I've got to say, it's been kind of a difficult gardening year this year. I wouldn't be surprised if people were stressed. And so I'm going to do that and keep weeding and keep mulching. That's what I do this time of
But the
year.
good news is, even in this difficult
Mhm.
gardening year, you cut back the size of your garden. So
I did, thank God.
think what it would have been like had you kept it the same size.
And I'm planning on making things like this wall border that I can't really get to. It's going to be more shrubs than it is
Very
now.
good.
I'm going to take out those daylilies and put them somewhere else where I can get to them and
Very
see them.
good.
That's it.
Exactly. All right, I'm going to wrap us up. Thank you for listening to the Garden Angelist. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single episode. We publish every week on Wednesdays at 12 a.m. Eastern Time.
And if you subscribe to our free newsletter, you'll get a link to listen to the podcast a day early and links to products we discuss. Some of these are affiliate links. Plus, go over to YouTube and you can now see us in person. I don't know why you would want to, but you enjoy that. Full episodes show up on Tuesdays.
And if you want to help support us, use our affiliate links. If you buy something after clicking through on them, we're in a small commission and it costs you nothing.
And they're in their own little space now on our newsletter.
They are very
Or
conveniently
you,
located.
very convenient. Or you can set up a monthly subscription through Buzzsprout or make a one-time donation through PayPal.
Thank you to everyone who has done so. It helps us pay for podcast hosting.
It was lovely to chat with all of you over the Garden Gate. Bye until next week.
Bye, everybody.